Wrap it up with the water, Mike.
Go.
Thank you. Mike will sit here and he'll have a coffee can of beans and he'll be shaking them around. And I'm like, Mike, son, quiet.
Banging on the table.
Yeah. He's eating a ham sandwich over there. Okay. We're going to take you off camera and we're going to get the show started, okay? I like that background she's got.
Yeah.
It's like a firing range. Like she's going to be on the spot.
The target.
Yeah. No, that's a cool background. I like that. It's kind of cool. It's a brick wall or something. Mike, you all right?
I'm about as all right as I can possibly be.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth.
All right. You ready to get started?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright, and so on. It's a rigorous training dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the 2023 award-winning podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, we have here in the studio Dr. Megan Radkin from the North Carolina State College of Veterinary Medicine, who has now gone on her own to be an equine podiatrist practice. And all this and much, much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over my far right side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I have not a bone to pick with you, but I have an issue. I have an issue that I want to bring up. Now, as you know, we have Diego, who's off the property here,
right,
that my wife rides dressage. The reason why Diego is off the property is because we have an arena out here, but it's an outdoor arena. It's the crush run, it's the round posts, and it's the small mini arena. I think it's 80 by 120 meters, or I don't know what.
That's not a bad arena.
It's a good size, but it's not Olympic size.
It's not.
I don't know what Olympic size is. I just threw that in there because that's what
Let's
she does.
Let's go with that, yeah.
So, but what she does is during the wintertime, because we do get a lot of rain here in North Carolina, and our ground, not the arena, but the grounds out here get a little sloppy. So she wants to make sure that Diego is, her show horse, her main show horse. We have two other horses here. We have Cayenne and Dominique, but Diego's the main show horse. So during the wintertime, he's off at another location.
Right.
Bigger arena, big, large outdoor arena, big, large covered arena. Now, I didn't realize how big arenas can get when they're covered. I mean, the big metal structure with the big truss over the head and all that stuff. It's a huge facility. A covered arena would cost more than the average home to have one built.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that deal cost, but it took a pretty large crane truck to set it up.
Oh, yeah, where she's at right now. So, as you know, she rides dressage, and she's trying to now work on the actual, not necessarily the movements, but the patterns, from going to A to D to circle back around and canter trot. And I'm just spitting out these names that I'm just regurgitating whatever she's told me before. And she came into an instance. Now, around the covered arena that she's at, the walls, there's a 4-foot wall made out of plywood.
Right.
That's 4 foot high and about 2 foot on top, enough for a barn cat to walk around the outside. And then as it comes into the arena, it has this almost like a 30-degree angle.
Right.
Coming into the arena. I don't know what that angle's for, why they put the angle on that going into the arena.
It's easier for the cat to get on it.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it does wrap around those big metal structures.
Right.
Now, just like in NASCAR, if you get too close to the wall, you're going to rub the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Diego decided to rub the wall a little bit and actually bounced my wife's right knee off of one of those metal pylons or whatever you want to call them. And by doing that, she twisted and, bounced. The saddle that she was on, that she just had reflocked and everything, did a whole twist and everything like that.
Right.
And Dominique twisted that way as well because,
Dominique twisted that way?
He did twist that way a little bit and bounced, and the back end bounced back into place.
I thought Dominique was out here in your field.
I'm sorry, not Dominique, sorry. Stupid horses' names. I get them all confused. Diego did the same thing. Diego bounced and twisted and got into a weird pattern of walking for a couple leads or trots or whatever it is.
Right.
So my wife comes home and she's like, how'd it go? And she's like, bang my knee. And the saddle, I got to get the saddle redone because the saddle's not sitting on Diego right. And now, Diego, you went out there the other day.
Right.
And he would not let you touch his back feet at all.
No, he did not want those back feet off the ground.
So tell me exactly what happened. Where Dominique, I'm sorry, Dominique, where Diego is, he's only
Dominique would be fine if I didn't touch her back feet either.
Well, Diego, these horses' names, they give me... Diego, his feet are shoed in the back, and it was time to change the shoes and update the shoes, and
he decided it wasn't time.
So tell us exactly what happened and what you found out and what's going on with Diego.
Well, this was on Wednesday, because I've got like a couple of days when I go in there because of the training horses. He decided that morning he did not want that back end up off the ground.
Now, did you do the front end first or do you do the back end first?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer, but he was not a happy camper. And I'd gotten through the trimming, fitting up stuff and all that. And as it progressed, he was less and less and less happy. And when it got down to actually applying the shoes, he said, we're not doing this today. And he felt like he needed to leave. And,
And what was it? What was his actual, what was he doing? Was he kicking? Was he bucking? Was he was just not picking up his legs? What was his actual attitude when he was there?
When I pick up a leg, he'd kind of start collapsing on me, and I can't quite hold him up. I'm a wimp.
Well, he's only 1,500 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. And then he started deciding I need to leave, and he was getting more frustrated, and he did not love it. So we decided after a bit, well, I'm back tomorrow. Let's let him go.
Now, Amy called a vet, and Amy's the type of personality where if something's wrong or broken, she wants to fix it right now.
Right.
She'll throw all the money at it. She'll throw all the intelligent people at it, doctors, vets, horse care people, all that, at a problem, at an issue, to get it off her plate, to make sure that whatever the issue is, it's solved and it's out of her mind. She doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
I'm constantly trying to wean her off of that. So I'm like, babe, this is just...
That's not happening.
Well, that's what I said. I said, this is something that's happened. It's no different than you falling down on the ground and bumping your knee. You're not going to be running a marathon the next day.
Right.
I said, so Diego has, bumped himself or bumped you. You've shifted his body. And so she called a vet to come out.
Right.
And the vet came out and said what? Because you were there. I wasn't there.
I was not there when the vet was there.
Oh, okay.
The following day, we pulled him out of the stall and went to pick up feet. And he's like, that's not happening. And
so he was still sore the next day.
Right. So then the option is, talk to Amy. So look, we can, the reason we did what we did was to build him up in the back end. He's much better back there. And as far as the pasterns and all that are much more stable than they were. And he may be strong enough. We may need to give him a break. If this continues on, we can't just do something. So the vet checked him out, and they decided that she rode him and said he just, he was short striding in the back end after that more than, of course, before he was not short striding. He had a big movement back there and just wasn't getting under himself. And a couple of people watched him and all that. I said, well, okay, we need to decide, is this worth this or not, more or less, right?
When you say worth it, putting on the shoes or not putting on the shoes, or just doing the whole thing in general?
Well, part of my thought was maybe he needs a break. And, of course, continuing with the training, losing the movement pattern, that wasn't going to go well as far as advancing in the training. So she had gotten a little cocktail for him.
I think she tried to feed that to me the other night too. She's like, Travis, shut up.
You need a cocktail.
Here, enjoy this.
Maybe the vet, maybe Megan can fix you up with one. Yeah. But, we got him in the barn. Okay, let's start checking him out. I've done a lot of body work with Ray Morris and a few other people over the years. So got everything in there. He got his little cocktail, and while we're waiting, start palpating, and I watched how he walked and started checking out his back, and on that right SI he had a big knot in there, And it's like, ooh, okay, this is why I didn't want to pick up his back feet, right?
So is this probably from the bumping of my wife on turn 3?
I'm guessing so, because the left hind is the one he was not going to let off the ground. He didn't want to stand on that right side. So, went up, checked on the inside of the stifle, down the back of your hamstrings, the whole bit, and that jumped out. So started doing a little massage work and worked around it, because that was tight enough. You don't want to get into something like that, because you can set it into spasm. And just checked out his back, felt a couple other little deals, and down the longissimus on that right side, he was tight all the way up into the back of the shoulder. So, of course, with the sedation, that's helped kind of make him a little easier to let go of a few things, right?
I'm sure, yeah, to relax and unwind, literally.
And then they sedated me, so I could,
deal with the issue.
So with all that, we easily got the back shoes on him and kept his feet about 2 inches off the ground to do it, to try to keep him happy. So, and then also taking a look at the saddle, and there's a couple of spots in the saddle to me, and there again, back to Ray Morris, and Ray had me flocking saddles. I felt it wasn't terrible, but there were a couple of places that were pushed up in the flocking.
So I'll give you the update on what's happening now with Diego. Diego, after you did your little knuckle rub and stuff on him and did the body work, or a little bit of body work.
A little bit of body work, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, you don't go out there and do that as a profession. You just go out there and just say, okay, this is a little knot. I'll work on this a little bit, and then let's see if I can get the horse's leg back up.
Right.
It's just a knowledge that you have, a bonus knowledge that you have being a farrier and working on horses. So Diego was turned out that night.
Right.
And was out in the pasture with Shadow. I don't know these horses' names. Let's say Shadow's out there. The two of them were running and walking and having a field day and kicking and farting and,
all the good stuff.
All the good stuff that horses do in the pasture. So whatever you did, the little bit of work that you did on that little muscle, and you realize, hey, this little spot's tense, helped him relax a little bit. I'm sure the cocktail probably helped a little bit as well.
It would have helped me.
So just to give you an update, my wife is going to call the saddle fitter back out to make sure that, the alignment is still good on the saddle. It's not hitting any bad points because of this being this, like I said, bumping in turn 3. But my wife's still walking around.
She rides like NASCAR.
Exactly. Rubbin's racing. So he's doing better now. So we'll see. It's just only been a week now since this incident has happened. I don't want to say accident. Since this incident has happened.
Right. And I was just over there yesterday.
Okay. And how did he look yesterday?
Well, yesterday's when we did the rubbing and.
Okay. So got
him back together.
Last night is when he was out, running around and kicking up a fuss out there with the other horses, but having a good time, not in pain, not favoring anything. Right. So I'll find out from my wife later on today what actually is the outcome. And her worst fear is, the horse is now lame. And according to the trainer out there, the barn, the barn hands and all that, he's fine. He's fine, little sore, but he's fine.
Well, I'm kind of lame, so,
Then you're another story. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, we're going to have here in the studio Dr. Megan Radkin. She is an equine, she has her very own equine podiatry practice, and we'll talk to her and find out what got her in the field and where it's going now that we're getting into spring. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Sorry, that ran a little long.
Well, that's what happens.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of information that I had to get across. So I just want to make sure that Megan. Sorry, Megan, that ran a little long. Well, and we'll probably bring up some of that information too. So if there's anything that you want to add to that story, because your podiatry type thing, I say type thing, like, you ready, Mike?
I'm ready. You ready?
Megan, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. It's loud and clear. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you have any questions for Mike Stine, the way you get those questions in is to go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says contacts. Fill out that little form, put podcasts in there, ask Mike a question. We'll read it here on the air or respond to you via email. And make sure you put a physical return address. We'll mail you a little prize pack from the Equine Dynamics podcast show, the #1 rated show for creating sounder horses from the ground up. And over to my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing great, and even better now because joining us here in the studio, we have Dr. Megan Radkin. She graduated from North Carolina State College in veterinary medicine. Megan, thank you for joining us this week on Equine Dynamics. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Thank you very much. I'm looking at you, and don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video, and you can see Megan here in real time in the studio as we're talking to her here. When did you graduate college? Like last week before? I mean, you are so young, and you probably get this. You look so young to be a doctor of veterinary medicine. I know if I go see my personal doctor, I want to see an old guy with a cigarette in his mouth, telling me that I need to, walk more, to get my weight down.
While he's puffing on a cigarette.
Yeah, while he's puffing on a cigarette. Megan, so tell us your journey to going from normal primary school into the equine world and why you decided to go to like the equine veterinary medicine.
I was always pretty interested in, animals and, wound care really fascinated me. So I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I had a horse that developed laminitis when I was in undergraduate school at UNC Charlotte. And, just started researching and seeing how cool feet were and got really obsessed and knew I wanted to do podiatry only. So that was the goal after vet school, which I did graduate in 2018. So it's been a little while.
So okay. So you're not new to the game. You're
No. Nope, not anymore. No, I did 3 years of general practice after I graduated though.
And you were pretty young. I mean, your mom had horses, so you've always been around them and handled them and rode and everything else.
Yes. Yeah.
So
she actually had to force me into it when I was a kid.
I don't think you were going to have any choice.
No, definitely not.
So when you decided to take the path as far as veterinary medicine, were you concentrating, or was your main goal like, you hear a lot of kids going, I want to treat the dogs, I want to treat the cats, the occasional bird, parakeet, type deal. And then all of a sudden you just took this turn. I mean, was that the path that you were going to, or you just said, I know you said I wanted to study podiatry, but was your first goal, your incentive to study like small animals, like dogs and stuff?
No, I didn't ever think I could work in a clinic all day, honestly. Doing kind of not necessarily the same thing, but pretty much the same thing every day,
right.
Vaccinations and itchy dogs and stuff like that. I just didn't see myself doing that. I like being outside, driving around, that kind of thing.
Yeah, believe me, I get that 100%. I couldn't stay in one place.
Now, not only are you a doctor of veterinary medicine, you are also a farrier. I'm looking on your website right now, and it says that you do like shoe trimmings and things of that nature as well. Now, do you find it hard to combine those two and keep both of them? Or do you have to keep both of those separate as far as, hey, I'm a veterinarian of medicine, but, Megan, I need you to come over and trim my horse's feet. So you go over there and trim the horse's feet. I mean, how do you keep that balance between the two?
Well, I don't take like regular routine work. So if somebody emails me and they just say my horse doesn't have any problems, but I need somebody to come out and do trimming or shoeing, I don't usually take those. I'll try to send them somewhere else. But if they have some kind of a problem, then I'll definitely take them on. And if I, need to keep doing them for a while until we get it sorted out, then I don't mind doing, obviously I like to do that too.
Mike, are you going to say something?
Yeah, we definitely, as far as the vets that are focused on podiatry, that is so overlooked. And there is so much out there where it is needed. And it's like, well, this is sort of an x-ray and we sort of can do something. And well, that's just what happens, and that's kind of, I'm afraid that's an awful lot of what happens out there. And it is a big need for somebody that can handle that,
especially in this area.
Oh yeah,
because
huge.
It's like a 1-2 punch with you, Megan. I was explaining earlier in the show, Mike is a farrier, but he has all that knowledge of body work, and he was able to look down Diego's spine and find the one spot, and he's like, okay, this is what's going on. This is and he kind of did that. And being a veterinarian and being a podiatrist, with horses' feet. you know, a lot of times you don't see that they can actually trim, or those type of labels can't trim or put shoes on or know exactly what to do. They just know the technical stuff. So you're like a 1-2 punch as far as being able to do both.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is also nice. I mean, if I'm going out to evaluate something on x-ray and the farrier can't meet me or doesn't have the shoes that I want to put the horse in or the materials or whatever, then I can just do it.
Now, you said you did a general practice for a while. Now, when you say general practice, explain that to me, because I'm just thinking like you're sticking the tongue depressor in the horse's mouth and you're checking the heart rate and all that stuff. Explain the general practice of the equine world, and then your transformation over to podiatry.
Yeah. So the general practice, we did, vaccines, teeth floating, colics, so emergencies, middle of the night stuff, chokes, pre-purchase exams, all that kind of stuff. And then, the goal was always to go off on my own. So in July 2021, I stopped working for that practice and started my own.
And so how let's see, how do I word this? So you just said, forget all the other stuff, I'm just going to do feet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
I mean, I had been trying to, I definitely tried to focus on that as much as I could in general practice, but when you're working for somebody else, you can't necessarily do whatever you want kind of deal.
And the last time I got somebody in here that was a vet, that was a podiatry vet, and we needed one badly, hauled in, 3.5 hours out of Aiken one way. And then Doc Red's come in from Kentucky. And before that, when I needed one, I had somebody come down here from up in your neighborhood, because there were 3.5 hours, 3 hours one way, because what I needed done, I didn't have a local vet that could do it.
Yeah.
And when you're in trouble with a horse, I need somebody that can seriously get some stuff done with feet with me.
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to come back. We're going to dive into Dr. Megan Radkin's personal service, her practice that she has right now, and all the details of what that involves outside of being, on her own, and the challenges that she has. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Megan, you okay?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah? Mike, you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
How can I help you? I don't know how to fix you, Mike.
It can't be helped.
I don't know how to fix you. Okay, we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about your personal practice, what is the practice called, or is it just under your name?
Radkin Equine Podiatry.
Okay. And we're gonna get her down here. We're looking for a property for her.
Are you?
Yeah.
Have I got a deal for you? we're looking to sell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We have numerous acres here, and everything's all ready to go. We can talk about that on the air. So. All right. You ready? Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to Mike Stine over there, and you can see all the stuff that we talk about here on the program. Anytime Mike has any x-rays that we discuss here, any case studies, any videos, you can see those over on YouTube in real time as we're talking about them here in the studio. And over to my far hand side in our studio here is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. And joining us here in the studio is also Dr. Megan Radkin. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you.
Now, you worked for a general practitioner for a while, and you were in the machine. You were working for, several people, and someone actually owned the building. And so were you limited, or did you have limitations as far as what you could do? And then what actually forced you or made you make the decision as far as doing your own business now?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely didn't love it when I would go out and shoot horses, just because that's not really what they did. But also, I mean, it makes it hard to carry everything on the truck that, I needed for general medicine and shoeing stuff. There just wasn't really room. So I was pretty limited on that.
So the company that you were working for made you not say made you shoe horses, but that was your role as far as you were going out to be a farrier?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. If I wanted to, for a particular problem case or something like that, I could.
Okay.
Wasn't necessarily encouraged.
But when you were practicing medicine for this company, what were your limitations with that, and what kind of freedoms do you have now starting your own practice?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't see emergencies anymore, which is nice. Don't have to be on call, and can kind of go wherever I want. They didn't really want their veterinarians traveling outside of a certain radius, because if there's an emergency popping up, they need somebody to get there. So now I can go wherever. Doesn't really matter.
Now, where are you located right now?
Right now, I live in Durham, but I mean, I drive all over. I put 80,000 miles on my truck last year, so
that's half of what Mike put on his truck.
No, actually, I'm running about half what she does as far as mileage.
Really?
Oh yeah, because like when I'm in a training barn, I'm set there for a day or two sometimes.
Yeah, I don't get that.
So Mike was saying that how much the Charlotte area, and we live in a small little town called Marshville. We have about 2,500 people, but we do have all these horse farms. Like I said, we have a couple of horses here on our property. My wife is at a barn. There's a reason why Mike Stine is here in this area.
They were very, very hard up. Couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, but you were saying that Mike was saying that we need you here in this area. Have I got a deal for you, Megan? We're not going to sell. I'm just in the back of your mind. We are not going to sell the house anytime soon, but in the next 4 years, I've got a beautiful property here. We have a 3,200 square foot house. We have 3 beautiful pastures. We have a riding arena. We have a round pen. We have a 6-stall barn. We've got a hay shed, chicken houses. We got all that stuff. So when you're ready, I'll hook you up with my realtor.
And there's a big turnaround, so you could have trailers swinging in and swinging out and lined up.
Yep.
It would actually be a good barn to work out of.
Yeah.
And the best thing is, Mike literally is a mile down the road that way. I don't know if
a little more than a mile, but it's not that far.
So you always have a professional farrier
north of Marshville and up south of Marshville.
Yeah, professional farrier at any given time, and when you're in this area. So what are the challenges that you're seeing as far as owning your own business? When I hear about doctors and people doing their own practice and stuff, you always want to hire a reputable company. Now, I'm not saying that you're not reputable or anything, but do you find it hard to get your name out there and to create, a group, a foundation, a base customer base, because you're not with a quote unquote, like an Atrium healthcare type system?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely took probably a year or so to start getting, busy. Luckily, a lot of the vets in the area know me anyway, so they started to, refer cases to me, and that kind of thing. But yeah, starting my own business was definitely a learning curve. Somebody should really write a book on how to start your own veterinary practice, because there's a lot that, I just didn't know. I mean, I have to have my x-ray machine registered with the state and just all kinds of things you just wouldn't think of.
So you're allowed to take x-rays, or what are they?
Well, yeah, she is. She's a veterinarian.
Well, I didn't know if there was a certain person that took the x-rays. I'm the veterinarian, but I'm going to turn you over to my assistant, Teresa, and she's the one that can do the x-rays. And then when Teresa takes the x-rays, she sends them back to me and I read them, and then I send them over to Mike Stine.
And she can give me x-rays. They're lined up right, and they don't look like Rorschach's ink blot test.
Right. So I had no idea. I probably heard or knew that before doing the show, but it just didn't register. So you can do all the x-rays and stuff, and you've got the machine. Now it has to be registered with the state. Why would it have to be registered with the state?
I guess so they can keep track of everybody's radiation exposure kind of thing. Is that a state government thing that you would do? Because I've gone to a chiropractor. I know that machine was not registered by the state. It was an old.
I don't know.
I bet it was. Maybe it's because it's a mobile unit. I'm not sure.
Now, is it a certification? Do you have to have someone come out there and turn all the knobs and do all the stuff? Is there calibration or something?
I don't have to do that, but I have to wear like a badge that measures your dose of radiation, and then you mail that off to some company to read it every quarter.
It's a scam.
It's
a scam.
Oh yeah, you have to pay for it. Yeah, but you have to do it. Yep.
So some of the other things that we're getting into, we're starting to get into spring. So going into spring now, what should we be looking for in our horses' feet? And I know we're coming out of rainy season and stuff, so hopefully the pastures are drying up. Yeah. So what are you starting to see now, or what should we start looking for? Yeah,
I'm sure there will be a flare up of laminitis in the next month or so, based on all the rain and the grass blowing up, and just looking for horses that, maybe they're not wanting to move forward one day. They look a little ouchy at the pasture. They've got an abscess what you think is an abscess that's lasting a little longer than you'd expect. I mean, all those are definitely a good reason to look at an x-ray, I think. Because I feel like most of it just goes unnoticed for a while, and then I'm usually not the first person called.
No, you get called normally. When I get called on some of these things, it's a complete disaster. So now we need to do something, right?
Yeah, about 3 months in or so.
Oh yeah, they should have done something a long time ago, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal necessarily.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about all the horses that Megan Radkin works on, Dr. Megan Radkin works on in her practice, and what else is she seeing out there in the field. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. My roosters are in the garage.
They're helping.
I don't know if you heard. Did you hear the rooster out there?
No, I didn't.
Well, these mics are sensitive, but I guess they're not that sensitive. We have, like I said, we have a chicken house out here. We had 40 some odd chickens here. We lost a couple and they run all over the property.
They had a real fat fox.
And then a fox came in like every 4 days. We'd lose one. And I'm out there with the 22, doing guard duty like Yosemite Sam out there. I'm like going, shooting the fox. So we have a rooster out there, and he kind of protects us now and then.
He can't tell time, though.
And he can't tell time. I can tell when he's out, though. He runs right up to the porch and right next to the doors of the bedroom. And, shut up! Throw the pillow. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Make sure you follow him over on Facebook, and the way you do that is to search for Equine Dynamics Mike Stine, and you can see all the different articles that Mike's been posting up there and all the different good reads on there. If you want to continue your education, you can go over there and follow all the great information that Mike's posted over on his Facebook page. He doesn't post a lot of junk, a lot of spam or anything like all your friends do. Hey, look at my dog, look at my cat, look at my food that I ate. Mike actually posts a bunch of great articles, not just about horses, just about podiatry and everything in general that has to deal with equines over on his Facebook page. So make sure you like and subscribe to him over there. And over to my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
Doing well. And joining us here in the studio, Dr. Megan Radkin, owner of the Equine Podiatry. Is that the name? What was the? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Equine Podiatry.
Radkin Equine Podiatry.
Radkin Equine Podiatry. Thanks for joining us, Megan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We like your little background there, your little brick wall. So, now you heard my story about Diego. Mm-hmm. And what actually, the things that unfolded with my wife hitting the rail and the saddle going this way and all the things that Mike went through. Now, in your expertise opinion, what else should I be looking for on Diego as far as, him not picking up his feet? Is there anything else that Mike or myself might have missed?
It sounds like you guys covered all the bases. I'm not really sure without seeing him. Sounds like you guys got it covered.
I don't have to take any x-rays or anything of him.
It didn't sound like it, or if, we can't really x-ray the body
Now why can't we x-ray the body? I would think you can x-ray a complete human being. Why can't you x-ray a body of a horse as well? Or do you need one of those big, huge, flat screen monitors? Those
portable units aren't going to handle certain parts of the body.
Oh,
yeah, they're just not strong enough to get the penetration through that thickness.
Now, my wife rides dressage. And Mike works with a lot of eventing horses and sport horses or sporting horses.
Right.
What type of horses do you deal with on a regular basis with your new practice?
Mostly backyard. I don't really do show barns. I certainly don't do more than one at a farm usually. If it is a show barn, usually just the one that has a problem, or just evaluating if they're not going as well as they had been, just kind of do a basic foot evaluation. And then, that kind of thing.
But on your performance barns, just for say, we had a day at a barn, and I'm missing something because I can't see things that you can see with your x-ray unit. As far as the performance and longevity of the horses, making sure all that stuff is lined up exactly where it should be would make a huge difference in performance and longevity of the horse working.
Now, when you're talking about the x-ray of the foot.
The x-rays,
okay.
Yes. Getting good x-rays. And I'm going to emphasize good x-rays because there are plenty of x-rays I get that are not lined up where they're really that usable.
Yeah, it'd be great if everybody would get just a baseline set of x-rays every year. It's just,
right.
Hard to convince people to
we start having performance problems and we're chasing something down. Sometimes it would not be an idea to bring her in and say, we need to move a couple of degrees here, a couple of degrees there, get everything dialed in really tight and go.
Yeah. I'm a lot more affordable than an MRI. I'll tell you that.
Being that and this is nothing, I'm just saying, being that you're so young and now that you're starting this on your own and doing this on your own, which is great. I applaud you for that. A lot of people, it takes them years to figure out what they want to do, and then by the time they get to a certain age, they've got this whole history of experience and stuff behind them, and now they're just starting to do stuff on their own. Now that you're great for you knew what you want to do, you're very young to do it, and you can start and create this big, huge foundation as far as podiatry. Where do you see the business going, and what is your actual main goal that you would see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself being a Doc Redden, having your own, where people come and see you at that level of expertise? What do you see the company and yourself doing in the future starting at such a young age?
I would love to, be a Doc Redden or a Dr. Mansman or something like that.
People flying to Japan and stuff like that.
Sure, why not?
The majority haul into me instead of driving out to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not possible for everybody, but for the majority, it would be nice.
I think one thing I would like to touch on real quick, venograms and the importance of venograms and what they tell us.
What's a venogram?
She's getting ready to tell you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So we inject a contrast dye into the veins right near the foot, and then take a bunch of x-rays really quick to see the blood flow through the foot, to see where there's deficiencies or where certain areas are being not perfused quite as well, and we can make changes to improve that blood flow. It is a snapshot in time, so I mean you have to take that into account, but yeah,
because once you put the dye in, I know this only because my dad just had something done with himself. As far as they put dye in him. It took him an hour for that dye to run through. So, you have to come up to this perfect point where the dye's at a certain place at a certain time at the right time for you to take those pictures.
Yeah, so we actually put a tourniquet around their fetlock, their ankle, to keep it there longer. But even still, you probably have tops 90 seconds, Mike, maybe.
Probably.
Oh, really?
It's moving pretty quick.
That quick?
Yeah, even with the tourniquet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So by the time you put the dye into the horse's foot, and you got the tourniquet on, and you got the horse standing there, like Diego, who doesn't want to stand there. So you got 90 seconds to calm this horse down, put the dye in, tourniquet, all right, ready, aim, cheese, click, and what happens? if you don't get it? Is it one of those sports cameras where it goes and takes like 15 pictures in like 40 seconds or something like that? Or is it just one shot every like 5 seconds? Or does it
Mine's pretty quick. Yeah, mine's pretty quick.
Yeah, it depends on the X-ray unit.
It works. What's that?
I said it depends on the unit on how fast it reload, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How long does it take for it to reload?
Mine doesn't take more than maybe 3 seconds.
Okay, so you can go one.
It takes at least that long to get your next shot lined up.
Right.
You know,
and that's providing you've got
angles
somebody that you work with regular, and you got your timing down and all that. Because if you got something you're fumbling with it, you're losing shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now being out there on your own, with your own company and stuff at Radkin Equine Podiatry, do you have a helper? Do you have someone that goes along and helps you unload? I know, being in my younger days, you know, I had a small rock band, and it was a pain in the butt for me to drag the amp out and drag the guitar out and hook up all the cables and stuff. And you always had that one friend or someone, hey, can we be part of your show? And I'll help you load the gear up. Do you have a person that helps you load the gear up and do all that stuff with you?
Not every day. Sometimes I'll drag my wife along. Sometimes I'll have, you know, like a pre-vet student that just wants to shadow, and so that's free help. I can't quite afford to pay somebody full time yet.
If you're working in with a farrier, the farrier becomes the helper.
Yeah.
You slip them with 20 out the door. Thanks, Mike, for helping me.
We're just tickled to death to get somebody that can do that. But it's like the Venograms. It's not something you would do on every horse. But
Right,
when I have said, hey, we need somebody down here, like right now, that's why I've been trying to find somebody, get them in the area, because we got some in serious trouble. And, you know, laminitic horses. Mm-hmm. You see laminitic horses that's like all of a sudden, oh, they're starting to walk really good. You do a Venogram and you got no circulation, and then a few months later they fall apart. Or the other end is you got one, it's on the ground, it can't get up, we need to put it down, and you got beautiful circulation, because if you just go by the pain level, you don't always know. And as Dr. Ed says, this is one of the world's greatest lie detectors.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
somebody who actually knows how to do it and read them.
All right, guys, we're going to take one more little break, and we'll come back and wrap up the show. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. I don't understand why I had this pen.
Because
I gave you a pen. She gave me
I destroyed your pen, and
a shittier pen.
You fussed at me about it.
I'm very particular about my pen, so Mike stole my pen. So I guess his wife. I never write in black. I always write in blue, by the way. Blue is my favorite color, as you can tell. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you'd like Mike Stine to perform a clinic out at your location, the way you do that is go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says clinics. Fill out that little form. Mike will pencil you in, schedule you for your next clinic at your event, your location, family gathering. If you got a barn full of horses, you know you need to have Mike out there, and he'll go over all the stuff that we talk about here in the studio. And if you have a grand opening ceremony at your store or a vendor location, we can perform this podcast at your location as well. Same form, fill that out and just put podcast, and we'll come out there and do the show right from your location. And over my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
What's that look for? Like you're confused.
I am confused.
All right. And joining us here in the studio is Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, Megan Radkin. How are you? And thanks for joining us.
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So what do we learn today? Now, Megan, being that you graduated from college in, what'd you say, 2018?
Yeah. Yep.
So what got you on the path, and where's your path going now?
Got me on the path for veterinary medicine, or podiatry.
Yeah, podiatry.
My horse that had laminitis when I was an undergraduate got me obsessed with the feet, and just been doing my own practice almost 3 years, and hope to have a haul-in clinic one day in North Carolina. So that's the goal.
Now,
I kind of hope it's down this way.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're looking for a haul-in clinic, we've got the perfect location here. So in a couple years' time, save your dollars, save your shekels, and we can reach out to you and we can work out a deal. You know, maybe we can get some free horse care or something in the process. I don't know, something like that. And what are you seeing that we should? What are you seeing, or what should we start to look for this spring? Now that Punxsutawney Phil has not seen his shadow, and we're getting spring very early this year. Not knowing this morning, with the opening temperatures of 40 degrees, what should we be looking for and keeping an eye on this spring?
Yeah, I mean, any little bouts of lameness, reluctance to move forward, just anything that might be a red flag. It's definitely worth getting feet x-rays. Never hurts to do that, get a baseline.
Now, do you get called out for more x-rays or more veterinary care?
Definitely x-rays, yeah.
And you were talking about the Venograms. Now, is that the same machine? I don't know if I asked that or not. I thought about it. Is that the same machine, or is that two separate machines?
Same machine.
Same machine that does both.
Yep.
Technique and knowing how to do it.
Which, from my understanding, Megan Radkin is very good at doing. And also, I lost my train of thought. Oh, sorry. I heard something in the background. And so where can all of our listeners find you, and how can they get a hold of you if they have any questions or like you to come out there and shoot some x-rays and see their horses as well?
Yeah, my website is horsehoofvet.com. And then on social media, Radkin Equine Podiatry. And I think my email's up there somewhere, and my phone number somewhere. So, yeah, that's mainly the way I get contacted is through the website. So.
All right, guys, on that note, we'd like to thank Dr. Megan Radkin for joining us here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
have a good day. Enjoy your ponies. And thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My name is Travis, saying see you next week.
Good night, Ned. Hi, Dusty. Good night, Ned. Good night, Ned.